We think in modern culture that there aren't cycles that we live by. In fact, all of us are strongly attuned to patterns of light and dark, so day and night. The monthly patterns of the moon and the yearly pattern of the Earth traveling around the sun. These are ancient patterns, far more ancient than human civilization or humanity. And so they've left their mark on us, both psychologically and physiologically. And I think that witchcraft is in fact just a recognition of that. The only thing that I think you really learn in witchcraft is timing. Because the idea embodied in witchcraft is that if you know exactly when to do things, you can do them with very minimal effort. Because the universe is pushing along with you. It's sort of like swimming downstream versus swimming upstream. What I noted when I started working in cyberspace was that there wasn't anything in there unless you brought it in. And you couldn't get physical objects in there, so it has no exterior reality. And that things had only the meaning that you gave them. Well, I immediately noticed that this was exactly congruent with what I understood about the magical universe. Huh, look at that. Because we're dealing with things that are very slippery and philosophical and poetic. But we can say functionally that cyberspace, and you could call it the shadow or the magical universe or the universe of the imagination, they're identical. I had thought that I really wanted to do a ritual that could tie together what I knew to be true about cyberspace and what I knew to be true about magical space. And Halloween was coming up, or as it's known in witchcraft tradition, Samhain. Samhain in the whole cycle of the wheel is the time of death. And what it means is it's the transition between the physical world into the realm of shadow. Well, we'd already said that shadow is cyberspace. So on October 27th, 1994, we had an event which we called the Cyber Samhain. And we formed a magic circle with 4 computers standing in at the east, the south, the west, and the north, with an Ethernet cable strung between them, running from east to north, which is the same way you would cast a circle. What we then had going on each of these 4 computers were 4 different views showing a magical altar. And we did a ritual.
Tonight we announce the imminence of the sacred within a space most believe profane. But what are we as beings, that we could function without the web of beliefs that support us? Tonight, then, we go on a journey into sacred space. The technology we use is both thousands of years old and a newborn child. For some of you, this will only be a display of Celtic Wiccan ritual. For others, a journey between the worlds, into magical space, into cyberspace. If anyone, for any reason, feels uncomfortable making such a journey, please step to the outside of the circle before it is cast. You will remain behind.
I think everyone who was there that evening felt like they were in the presence of a special energy. Part of what we were doing is very much acknowledging the presence of this similarity, that in fact the world that we're entering, because the world is becoming more manifest in cyberspace, the world is equivalently becoming more magical as a result. But it also then just got me to thinking that our entire relationship to the world of communication has to be constructed with an acknowledgement of the similarity between magic and cyberspace. Because if we don't, and we just play with these things randomly, we'll end up invoking all sorts of things that we wouldn't have thought we wanted to invoke. I say it very simply. I say, you know, if we forget to bless our tools, we will become profaned by them. As far as we know, it was the first of any kind of ritual that had been done per se on the web. I doubt it's actually true in fact, but there it was. One of the people we invited to the ritual that evening was a writer named Eric Davis, who penned an article for Wired, which came out the following year, called Technopagans. And that has become a sort of rubric for this kind of work, is that it's technopaganism. You know, it's a cool, hip, kind of Wired kind of word. I don't know what it means. I would think that if you brought a pagan forward from ancient times, you know, from the British Isles 2,000 years ago, plunked him down in the world today, I don't know that his reaction would be fundamentally different than my own to the world that we're living in.